Hey, everybody, it's Lynn Meyer, the HRT coach, which stands for Healing, Restoration, and Transformation. Today, I am presenting something to you that is near and dear to my heart. There's a new podcast that is going to be called Men Cry in the Car. And I just wanted to introduce it to you today. I have a special guest on with me, and today we're just going to be setting the tone, setting the space, setting this place and space for men to come in, share your feelings, be seen, be heard, be supported. Because for those men that I have in my life, that's the space that they want to be in. So before I bring my guest on, I just want to say thank you so much for joining me. Once you get on, subscribe to the channel. No, what just happened? It just kicked me. Okay. So technical difficulties here. What just happened? That's exactly what it's doing. It keeps speaking. Oh, what is happening here? Hmm. I'm just gonna keep talking because I don't know. It's doubling what I'm saying though. I don't know what this is. Hold on for a second. Let me kick it off here. Let's see. Okay, I think that happened. Okay, so I think I figured out why my voice was thrown back. Technical difficulties. This is the first time. This is the first show. So I am. Before I bring my guest on, I wanted to talk about the reason why this podcast was so near and dear to me. Men Cry in the Car was birthed out of my husband losing his brother and him feeling like he needed a place to talk and a place to share and a place to have those emotions. And I just want to create this space because a lot of men that are in my life or have been connected with me or to me as a client, that's what they said to me. They wanted a space where they felt seen. They wanted a space where they felt supported. And so this is the reason why I created that. But today I want to bring on no other than my brother from another mother, DJ K Wise, and the baddest DJ in the land. Okay, if y'all don't know, you need to subscribe to DJ K Wise on TikTok. That's where he is on TikTok. On YouTube, they have Real to Real 360 with my brother, spoiled brother, Josh Mel. And we also, I don't know the other places where you can be found. I'm losing all that, but I want to bring him on. And so everyone, please welcome to the stage my brother DJ K Wise.
Peace, peace. What's good? What's good? What's up, sis?
Yay! Thank you for being here with me. Thank you
Oh,
for
man.
showing me so much love on your platform. You and Spoiled Brother coming on, just like I appreciate the fact that now I can ask you to come on and speak with me. This is going to be so good. I wanted to tell the people that, like I stated before, that you were courageous enough, generous enough, and open enough to come on and speak on this platform. So I wanted to say one more thing. This platform, you guys, for those that will come on and listen to this conversation is not scripted. Everything is going to be raw. Everything, the questions are not prepped. We don't have that because we want to have a candid conversation. We want this to be very open. We want this to be very real, and we want this to just flow. We just want to flow. So one thing before we do get started, please let people know who you are, and then we can get into conversations.
Well, first of all, peace and blessings, and thank you. I am DJ K Wise. But for the foremost, you can call K Wise, DJ and all that. I'm your
I
brother.
know, I just put that on there.
It is indeed a pleasure to be here. You know what I mean? And I represent one half of Real 360, along with my co-host, my brother, Joshua Miller, aka Mr. PhD. And we bring to the forefront, we interview lots of people on various things, but the various things has to be positive, and it's about community building and community unification. And we also do a lot of music interviews, bringing out Southern soul artists, R&B artists, uh,
Mhm.
some of our old school artists that we had on recently, like Christopher Williams, Troop, um, just to name a few. And but for me, I'm more or less, like I said, mostly you see me in the background. Aside from doing the DJ, I do a lot of the promoting, program management behind the scenes and stuff like that. So I like getting my hands dirty, basically. While John be out there, he gets the people to come on the show. He does a lot of interviews. He does a fantastic job. So always give him kudos and shines for that. And I'm just all around a nice young man. I would like to say, some people may look at me say different, but for me, all I can say is I am that I am. There's no sugarcoating. There's no powdering. I am what you see is what you get. When you sit down and break bread with me, make sure you have some. You're gonna have some good time. We
Mm-hmm.
laugh, we joke. You know what I mean? And I'm
Mm-hmm.
just glad to be here to support my sister. I'm glad I'm like maybe I'm the first person going, hey, I'm the pilot of the show. Let's get it.
That's right. Let's get it. Let's get it. And I'm just so thankful that you shared all that because now they know that you are not new to this, as they say, that you are true to this.
Absolutely.
And I just want to jump on in. The reason why, again, men cry in the car, simply because it took me back to, for those that have seen the movie Friday. And remember when Debo came and he took the guy's necklace and he snatched it and he was like, oh man, my grandma gave me that necklace. And then he ran to the car and they said, oh, he gonna cry in the car. Well, so for all of us that have seen that movie, we laughed.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes when I hear that, I laugh too. But then I think about it, I was like, well, how serious is that really? And so I know probably the most safe place for men to cry is in the shower or in the car or
Mm-hmm.
those type of things. And the reason why they cry in the car, and you tell me if I'm wrong, the reason why I think men cry in the car is because they don't feel safe anywhere else. And that space of their car is a place of release. What would you say about
Okay.
that? What thoughts do you have about that?
I'm gonna give it like this here. Any place that we find solitude within, where we are blocking out everybody, is gonna be a place wherever we express ourselves. If we're in a phone booth and we're in there, it's the same thing. Uh, you got food it out. I don't know what happened. There we go. Yeah. All right. A car is most likely most of the time. I can, like I said, I'm speaking from my experience. Yeah. Have I done things to cry in the car? Sure, absolutely. I've experienced some heartaches and pains, whether it be um, relationship wise, male to female, or personal uh, situations with their family or friends that causes you to just try to see how things go, you know. And sometimes I found myself beating up the steering wheel, grabbing it, or just, with the windows up, just screaming so nobody hears me but myself as a release mechanism. You know, if the tears I cry to be the tears that's hidden from a lot, just sometimes we go with that, a man ain't supposed to cry, but it takes a strong man to shed a tear in order to persevere, you know, to know what he's crying about, to know what what's going on, and then how does he handle the situation from that point on.
Hmm. So this makes me think about when I was a therapist in the hospital, and there were a lot of men that would come for support, like group therapy. But I remember this one gentleman. He was probably, I think we're probably the same age, and I think this time I think I was like 35 years old. But I'm looking at this young man, and I said to him, I said, "It's okay to cry." And he looked at me and he says, Linda, last time, no, the only time I cried is when my mom died.
Mm-hmm.
And I did like this, really? And he was like, yeah, we don't cry. We're told not to cry. It shows like it's a weakness if we cry. And I'm listening and I know all this to be true because that's how, we were raised. And I was just like, do you want to cry right now? And he looked at me and he kind of like stared at me and he just started bawling.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought about it, I was just like, how many men feel like they cannot express themselves because it's seen as a weakness. To cry is a weakness.
Well,
How many men feel like that?
What's funny about it is this here. When I think about my childhood days, my father was very strict. When I say man's man, he was a man's man. He never spared the rod to spoil a child. Trust and believe that. Now, if he's disciplined us and my brothers, and all of a sudden, we're crying while he's whooping our behind. And then after we cry and after he's finished, he's like, "Now dry those tears up." You know, it's like, don't nobody want to see that. I'm like, well, if don't nobody want to see it, why are you expressing me to give it to you? It's like a dual-edged sword in play. But uh, other certain situations that's come about, like there's, peer pressure. We don't cry. We ain't, the machoism between young boys growing into men to be like, nah, man, I can't show that. You know what I'm saying? That makes me feel a lot of times, yeah, we got that syndrome, that psychic syndrome that says it makes us appear weak when we cry. But again, different situation, different time zone, or a frame of what's going on could either make you or break you. But one thing is we look at is, you may see me cry, but don't think that just because I'm crying that I'm weak. It's just, that's just a side of an emotion that whether some people can let it out, some people choose not to. You know, it was hard for me to shed tears later on in my life. My father got murdered. My tears became anger. So I'm not crying. My emotional state of crying became the anger
Mhm.
in me. So my disposition to certain people was, wow, why you look so angry all the time? You should smile or this and that. But sometimes my anger was my crying, but just people didn't know. And for that matter, I didn't know.
Mhm.
I didn't understand it, because I would only cry in the dark or when I'm away from certain people. And then my cry or would become
Yeah.
a yell. And that, like people say, we cry for help in ways that we may not want other people to hear or understand. Even if I'm crying, I'm yelling. People are like, "What's going on?" I just had to get it out because sometimes
Mhm.
it's so contained. We keep it so bottled up. It's like dynamite. Once it's lit, it's got to go somewhere. It's got to explode.
It's got to explode. And that's usually what happens because that's the thing. I'm glad you said that because we see it very normal for little boys to grow up to be aggressive. And then it's like accepted when a man is aggressive. But we see it so normal for little girls to cry and all this. And so then we grow up and then now we're just like so nurturing and all this. It's like, what is it? What is the craziest thing to me? Because emotion it's not a gender tied to emotion.
Mm-hmm.
It's like stop all that, stop being a wimp and all that. It's not that. Like, who said that was a gender? Like, crying is for everyone.
Mm-hmm.
Having
Mm-hmm.
emotion is for everyone. Then you wonder why, when you grow up like that, then you wonder why you become an adult and you don't know how this is how to segue into relationships. Then you don't know how to be a man in the relationship or to be a loving man in a relationship. Not so I'll
Mm-hmm.
take that back, not a man in a relationship, but a loving, nurturing, supportive man in a relationship because you grew up being told, shut up, wipe your tears, what you crying for? Stop being a wimp, stop all that. And it's detrimental to little boys. And then also now I'm surrounded as my siblings don't know how to, my brothers don't know how to,
Mm-hmm.
my nephews do not know how to show emotion. It's through anger, it's through this, it's through aggressive. Like, what you have to say about that?
It's the gift and the curse. You know, um, we grew up in an era. I grew up in an era where you don't talk. What goes on in the house stays in the house.
Mhm.
So all that taught me to be like the expression tighten up, chief. You know what I mean? You know, wipe those tears, be a man about yourself and get it together. Don't nobody want to see a man cry, a grown man cry at that. Boom, boom, boom. So it's like so now it's a battle cry,
Yeah.
the shield is up. It's like, cause if I'm crying in anger, then that means I'm ready to lash out in any direction or put hurt on somebody. Especially
Correct.
if I feel like I'm being attacked or in a protective mode, to
Mm-hmm.
where I know that my tears is a warning. Now, basically, I'll tell you like that. My tears is a warning because if I once I get to that position or that point in my mind state, then like I said, like we talked about, the fuse has been lit, and the
Mm-hmm.
more and more those
Mm-hmm.
tears is coming in that anger, now I'm ready to strike out. So it's anything,
Mm-hmm.
anything goes.
Yeah.
As a man, like we say, we are the providers, the protectors. You know, I didn't have patience growing up. I didn't get
Yeah.
patience till I had kids. I didn't know what patience was. So they
Yeah.
put it on me, especially girls.
Yeah.
Girls, oh my God, they change a man. No
Mm-hmm.
matter what, you're going to
Mm-hmm.
change when you become a father with daughters. When you got boys too, it's I don't care what nobody said. He said, "Oh, it's all the same." No, it's not. No,
It's
it's not.
not.
Not for a man. And I really can
Mm-hmm.
say that for, I can't say if it's that way for a woman, but a woman has to speak her perspective with it. But from a man's
Mm-hmm.
point of view, when he
Mm-hmm.
has a daughter, he is going to change one way or another. He's going to be more harder, and he's going to be
Mm-hmm.
more loving, and he's going to be more protective at the
Yeah.
same time. And to think about it, why? Because he knows who he was and how he was when he was out there trying to get what he wanted to get, and
Yeah.
fearful of the next man or next child that grows up, and this child gets older. It's the same circle cycle of life. It's just a matter of
Yeah.
how we change what we grew up to be.
Mm-hmm.
And, I knew for a fact that I had to make changes for myself to step away from what was my norm in thought as a child to
Mm-hmm.
what I make my norm to be as an adult. I don't knock the discipline I got. I would never take it away. But some of the
Yeah.
things that I got as a child, I would never inflict or want to inflict that
Yeah.
same thing on my child, because we're in different times and space. Everybody grows into a different lane of themselves. So we
Yeah.
have a foundation,
Mm-hmm.
but we also got to allow room for experimentation to grow.
Yeah.
And that's just the best part. So
Okay.
yeah.
But I still think about, because you and I both grew up in the same generation.
Mhm.
If we, and I just say we because my brothers, well, my brother is a Gen Xer, the other brothers are baby boomers. But if we had grown up in this space to feel safe, especially the boys, if they felt safe crying, if they were given an opportunity to say, "Mommy, I'm hurt. Daddy, I'm hurt.
Mhm.
My feelings are whatever," all the things that, scratch that. Growing up, what did you want to say to your parents that you felt like you needed to say, but they shot you down from? Answer that, because that's probably going to bring out the question that I really want.
Well,
What did you want to say?
in my house, growing up under the roof of a black man as a bus driver by day, minister all his life, basically. My father, I'm a PK kid, so I'm gonna tell you that right now. There was no room or margin for our opinions. We didn't have it. Our
Mhm.
opinions was his.
Of
It was
course.
his way or the highway.
Mhm.
The nurturing part or the soft part, that all came from moms. You understand what I'm saying? When it came to the discipline, now moms would this because she had to. She had to deal with five knuckleheads. So moms was no joke.
Mhm.
Moms is little Mike Tyson. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? And
Mhm.
everything. But the sternness, my father was always, he was that man. He was that come home, first thing, did you do your homework? Yes, dad, boom, boom, boom. All right, let's check it. He's
Yeah.
checking, balancing on everything, you know. And when he asked you certain questions, you couldn't answer it. Man, you had hell on your hands. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't
Yeah.
like he was giving you the, well, son, uh, the looking for love from a father from a child's eye point of view when you see it coming
Yeah.
from other kids and their
Hmm.
fathers, and you go back and like, what's wrong with my dad? This and that, it's hard. It's hard to decipher. But then again, you have to understand, like I said, each man, I didn't know what his life was growing up, what he had to endure, what pains and sufferings he going through as a child to where it made him to be how he is, and then what he tried to instill in his own children from his traditional upbringing and so forth and so on. And I didn't realize a lot of those things until my father was murdered. See, and so that's why I said that part about me crying in the dark is when my father was murdered and I was overseas in Germany at the
Yeah.
time. So a lot of unanswered questions that I feel should have been answered with him and by him. I'll never get that. I'll get the secondhand part from my siblings and so forth, or my mother. But the truth about what he had would say, I could never hear that voice again, you know. And to feel that part being taken away from me is always going to be a hurtful thing. But it's also a
Hmm.
learning curve for me at the same time. So I use that as a healing factor whenever I feel, when I go into my own closet.
So it's safe to say, I mean, you and I talk, so
Mhm.
it's safe to say that growing up, you didn't feel comfortable sharing your feelings.
No.
The reason why I say that is because now this is going to be brother and sister talking. The reason why I say that is you went all the way around my question,
Mhm.
and I'm just waiting. I'm just waiting, and I'm just like, okay. So let me ask you this again. What is it that you wanted to say or feel or experience when you were a child that you did not get? What emotions did you want to express? What feelings did you want to share? Like, what were those things? Because I know they were. They were just shot down. They were just told,
Yeah.
be quiet and all that. So, what were those things?
I would think from my perspective, like I said, because I was before my sister was born, I was the
Mm-hmm.
last one. And all my other brothers, being older, were
Mm-hmm.
allowed as they got older to say certain things. And I'm like, at the time, I'm like, well, I should be able to say the same thing he says because we're brothers.
Mm-hmm.
But no,
Mm-mm.
I don't have a seat. I don't have a say at the table. But when I wanted to say what I wanted to say, you're too young. Number one, the number one thing is when adults are talking, you exit the room. And
Mm-hmm.
you may have say something. I wanted to say something to my mother or father, but I couldn't say it
Mm-hmm.
because I'm out of place.
Mm-hmm.
So that would be a suppression because I feel like I should have a right to speak just like my brothers have a right to speak.
Yeah.
But those are some of the things you grew up missing or
Mm-hmm.
feeling like,
Mm-hmm.
is that neglect? I felt neglected. Like, I mean, I'm here. I should have a right to say, express how I feel.
Mm-hmm.
And when you don't get that, that turns into a rebellious state of mind
Okay.
at times. So that's the withdrawal from everybody, from
Mm-hmm.
withdrawing myself because I can't express how I need to feel because I'm taught that you keep your mouth shut when grown folks is talking or you
Correct.
go into the room. See now you go into the room. What's happening? You dismissing me from allowing me to be me.
Correct.
See?
Thank you
Yeah.
for bringing that up because that's another thing. If you can't share your feelings, go to the other room because I don't want to see it. I don't want like and but when you dismiss a child, when you dismiss a child to a room, they're there to figure it out by themselves. They don't know how to regulate their emotions. They don't know how to calm themselves down. Like now you have told this child when you are upset, you need to separate yourself, don't deal with it, walk away. Then you turn into adults that do the very same thing. I see adults that say, "Oh, let me walk away before I say something." And I think that's good, but when that's the thing that they do all the time is because that's what happened when they were little children. Go to your room and then calm down. Stop crying, go to your room. It's like, well, figure out what's going on with the child. So now this child has become an adult that doesn't know how to regulate emotions.
Mhm.
But the only thing I say in society, the only emotion that most of us all accept is anger
Mhm.
because we know what that looks like. Oh, you're angry? Oh, okay. Oh, you're being aggressive? Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Show up being sad. Nobody wants to deal with that. They're like, oh, they will ignore you. You don't want to share as the person that's sad. I don't want to ask you if you're okay. Like all of that. Like we are so messed up, and this is the reason why I want to have this podcast and allow share this because he's gonna be I guess my show. Y'all, my husband's gonna come on, I think the third week. But
All
he
right.
has found a safe place in me.
Mm-hmm.
These are not my words. This is what he told me. My husband is able to shed tears in front of me. And I absolutely love that because he knows he is safe. I'm not going to judge him. He knows he's supported. He knows I see him. And that's the thing. And he has said that to me. He was like, "You're the only woman that I feel safe sharing my feelings with. Not his mom, not his sisters, not his aunts, but his wife.
Mm-hmm.
His wife." And I'm glad he found that because before me, he didn't share his feelings. So I share that to ask you, who do you feel safe sharing your feelings with?
Growing up, I couldn't share my feelings with nobody. Nobody. I would always be that dude when I come home. I would go in my room, shut the door, open up the other room, the closet door, go in the closet, and just be quiet. You know, not until now. Don't take me like I said. My mom has always been there.
Mm-hmm.
She's always been that person, to try to get me to open up. And for some reason, it was always that way for me to open up with her for a minute. Um, I would get to the anger part. The anger part was easy to express anger with other angry people.
Okay.
Now listen to that. The anger part was easily talk about anger with other angry people.
Of
But where
course.
was the solution? We're both angry. We just letting it out amongst each other, but we're still going to go home with that same anger and attitude.
Yeah.
And what did we do? Did we really accomplish anything with anger being taught with anger? It all
Mm-hmm.
depends, but now my sister and I, who are very close, very close. Um, I know that I can go to her for the same reason your husband goes to you. There's no
Mm-hmm.
judgment. There's no judgmental. We can talk about any and everything going on in our lives, and it's okay. You know,
Good.
um, so we depend upon each other in that manner, especially because she was daddy's girl. I'll put it that way. She was daddy's baby girl from the only child, the only daughter. So her living to see go through the part where her father was killed because like I said, I was grown, I was gone. She was the
Mm-hmm.
last one. And for her to see her father, that's traumatizing.
Of course.
So um I can never take my father's place. I can never fulfill his shoes. I could only be the extension of him that he grew me to be as a brother to a sister and to my other brothers. That I feel like I'm that guy that they can come to. I'm that guy like who is more sensitive and emotional to things than what I used to be,
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
so it's hard. But yeah, my sister's old right now. That's my ride or die. What
That's
you know
good.
to talk to. So
Gotta have somebody.
big up, Shorty.
Especially when you grew up. Especially if you grew up and you didn't have that space, that opportunity to share like that. And now you have that with your sister.
What
Let
did
me
I?
ask you this. Um, how important do you think it is for men to be open? Choose your word: open, honest,
Mhm.
vulnerable, authentic with each other, expressing their feelings. How important is that?
I think that it's very important to be authentic and straight 100 with on a male's perspective. And I say this even more from a black man's perspective to another black man because we are the products of ancestral hurt and pain, you know, in our DNA
Mhm.
that sometimes we don't even know where it comes from.
Yeah.
But you know, some men that have grown up without fathers have their own internal pressure that I will never understand because I had my father for so long. I had him, but
Mhm.
I didn't have him. But I can't say to another man, I know what it's like not to have a father in my life. So I can't hold that kind of conversation with him to say, I understand what you're going through. I can only say, I hear you
Mhm.
and I'm open to what you're saying. So whatever you have to say, lash it out because I want to make sure that making sure I'm being very listening, attentive to their need and emotion expression. We need to do that as black men. I think it would bring
Right.
us together more in a social equality setting to
Mhm.
show that, you know, we are vulnerable to a lot of things, and yet, but we also can be kings among kings
Correct.
without, you know, putting one another down because oh man, you a wimp. No, that didn't make me a wimp. You just lack the understanding to what my situation is. And
Correct.
so dialect and open communication, something strong, man, that I would love for every black man to get involved with. You know what I'm saying? No
Yeah.
matter what walk of life you walk into, you still a man. We need to treat each other like fellow men, and like
And
brothers. You know.
I would love that too, simply because I think the other side of it is when it goes back to the weakness, it's
Mm-hmm,
you don't feel comfortable doing that,
mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
because if you have never experienced anything, okay, it's just like love. If you never experienced true love or someone loving you without wanting anything from you, only to love you, it's foreign to you. So you're like, mm-mm, I don't know what that is. And it's the
mm-hmm,
same thing when you have that brotherhood, that community, like, hey, we're here for each other. If you never experienced that, you don't trust that either. So it's really about all of us, but definitely men
mm-hmm,
being able to say, hey, brother, I see you. Even if it has he has to be pulled to the side, because a lot of times that may, I'm gonna pull you to the side. I saw you over there. I see you having a hard time, and that pulling you to the side could be
mm-hmm.
calling you, texting you, literally pulling you to the side. What's going on? I see. Like, I'm here for you. I know it may be hard for you to talk, but just know somebody got your back.
I'll give you a primary example. I remember way back one time, I held a peer counseling for just a few of my brother colleagues, military wise. And what it was, we just sat down in the chairs. It was just
Mhm.
us, no women, just us. And I looked around the room, and you can see everybody either
Right.
like this.
Hmm.
Everybody's in protective mode or ready to pounce. And I'm looking around. I'm like, okay, so why is everybody in such a posture of what this and that? We just sitting there. Everybody like, well, I don't know what. I said, listen, we just sitting here, we were conversing. So I
Right.
said, I gave the topic, and I just like said, listen, who would like to go first? It's funny. We don't want to go first, but we want to be leaders.
There
We
you
don't
go.
want to be
Say
the
it
first ones
again.
to step out, but we want to be leaders, but we don't
But
want
you
to
want to
step
lead
up
it.
to lead for. So I said, okay. I watched, I sit out looking around. I said, okay, I'm gonna start it off. So I introduced myself, boom, boom, boom. This is what we're gonna do. And I said, now, whoever wants to go second, please jump up. And
Right.
once I did that, it seemed like a few was like, okay, I'm comfortable enough now. Because we're looking at each other like, well, this person don't know my story. I don't know about
Mhm.
what's going to happen if I say what I say. Does that make me vulnerable? He's
Right.
going to be able to attack me. This, that. Those are the negative stigmas that we put in our heads without even discussing with a person yet. So
Yeah.
we're already on the protective mode to
Hmm.
ourselves, which is really the hurt mode.
It's the hurt. Thank
Yeah,
you.
we're hurting ourselves more because we are feeling like if I allow myself to be open, there's that weak thought, that weak mindset of you a coward or you're less than a man, of to open up yourself to somebody else to talk to.
Yeah,
Words can heal, words can hurt. It's all about the approach and technique of how you bring it together.
that's it.
Hmm.
That's it. And I feel like it when you don't speak on something that's harming you, hurting you, having you in a place of feeling broken, damaged, all those words. If you do not speak on it, if you do not work on it, you do not process it, you do not get the healing that you need, you're gonna be in that place of feeling hurt,
Hmm.
harmed, wounded. And then again, going back to anger, then you're gonna be mad again because nobody sees you hurt. Nobody's trying to help you. Nobody, but you haven't opened up your mouth. You see what I'm saying? You haven't opened up your mouth to say. Now, because I've been in the field for 23 years now, mental health, I can see it. And for some
Wait,
reason, go ahead.
I'm tripping because I'm just now looking. I'm looking at the comments, and here goes
Oh,
spoiled. Did you see spoiled brother?
I didn't.
Oh, you got to look. He said, "Where's the love for the spoiled brother?"
See what I'm saying? I didn't even see that.
There you go. Talk about why I
Poor
stopped him
brother.
from crying.
Oh, here he is. Here he is. Where's the love with the spoiled
Yeah,
brother? Oh my. Hey,
uh-huh.
spoiled brother. There you are. Oh my God. Peace. I'm here. Thank you.
Yeah.
Sorry. Sorry. Yeah,
you
we see
know,
you.
and
Tammy is
speaking
next.
of that,
Hey.
yeah, take care. The funny thing about that, and I'm gonna talk about Ja real quick. Ja Ja on the outside, and a lot of us black men on the outside, we
Speak
have this
about it.
intimidating aura or look about us, you know. But when we're again, here we are in the car or behind closed doors, and we're able to let ourselves down or let our hair down, so to speak, because we know we have a common factor about trust within each other to where we can speak and allow ourselves to open up. And what's ever ailing or hurting others, we know it stays with us point blank, period. But I think that that's something that we should have as a whole on the table as men abroad to have a strong factor of unification. So, yeah, big up to the spoiled brat. I ain't gonna say spoiled brother, the spoiled brat. Yes, he is. But I love him to death.
Right. That's the thing. Don't act like that.
Yeah.
You know that this is my first time doing a podcast. You don't act like that. So thank you for seeing the comment. He's so spoiled. That's what
Absolutely.
those middle children, that's what they do. They're very spoiled. Like the older children are like, okay, I know what I gotta do. The youngest child is like, well, whatever, because I'm the last. But that middle, ooh, they always need attention. So there's your attention. All right, okay. But yeah, and so put in the comment too about your thoughts about men not having a safe space. So one thing I want to ask though is for men that are watching, because I shared this across. So you're gonna have
Mhm.
women watching that I asked to share with their husbands, like all the men in their lives. For the men watching, what would you want to say to them, or what will you now say to them for sharing their feelings or keeping them to themselves? Or like, what do you want to say to the men that are watching?
Well, number one, I would say number one is be true to yourself on what you want for you. What is it you're looking for to help you as a person to come out and be able to say what comfortability do you have to rely on to say I'm ready to do this? You know, whether find somebody. I guess the thing is trust. Is trust. Find somebody that you feel is trustworthy enough for you to say, I listen, I would like for you to hear me. You see, the key thing I always tell somebody, you know, you hear me, but I need you to listen.
Correct.
You hear me, but I truly need you to listen. If you listen to what I say, then I know you heard me correctly because you're going to
Mhm.
respond to what I've said, not what you just heard for yourself. It's what you heard listening to me and understanding that part. So, always the best part is understanding. But the first thing is being able to find that common ground and space to say, I think I'm ready to open up. You don't want to force it. You don't want nobody to say, well, just tell me what it is. Blah, 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 get it out. Because then now you put up that wall. Allow that time and space to give into to say, okay, I want to have this conversation. And when that person is ready to have that conversation, guess what? Really have that conversation with that person, you know, and just be open and honest. So fellas, man, listen, we in a different world and a day and age, man, that we need to be around for each other. We need to be around for our family and friends. So nothing wrong with expressing how you feel, man. Just be true to yourself and be true to all that's in your surroundings, man. So I tell you, you may not know me from a can of paint, but you can call me up and say, "Yo, K Wise, man, I'm so and so. I just got something on my mind. Would you like, I just need to get off my chest." I'm not gonna tell you no. What's up? You know what I mean? Let's break bread and see what's going on. That's just how I'm built. That's how I am now. Years ago, I wasn't. That's how I am now, and I'm better for it
Yeah.
this way. I really
Yeah.
am.
And thank you. And I feel like, well, I don't say a couple things to that. Um, I've been hearing men tell me, Lynn, you need to have a space for us. Like you keep helping all these women have a space for us. And so then I started having clients and in my practice that were men, I was just like, okay, I have a space for you now. And they're like, no, we need another space. And I kept hearing that for years. Also from Spoiled Brother, he kept saying, when you gonna help us? I'm like, I'm gonna do it. And so then, so I was hearing and then I was hearing my husband talk about it as well. But again, going back when he lost his brother last month, just all those emotions, I was just like, I'm listening now. I'm actually listening because I've been hearing this for years and I just didn't know like how I needed to serve or help or whatever. And so that really is when I was just like, okay. It's like when you hear a song so many times and you're like, is that what they're saying? So now you heard the lyrics, but now you listen. It's like I've been singing it this whole time. So that's the thing, just being able to listen. You're absolutely right. And then also, when you said I'm better for it, because now you understand the importance of someone listening to you. People have been hearing you all your life, and then somewhere maybe it was your sister, but someone started listening to you, and you knew how you felt when you were like, "Whoa, you really see me." Like you really understand. So being able to like extend that to other people, other men. Thank you for that because I know somebody's going to see this and like, I don't have anybody I can talk to. There you go. You just open that up, and so then they will know that they're not alone too. I wanted to say this. Thank you so much for coming on. What did he say? Oh, great show. Oh, thank you, and you'll be next. Because I don't want you to say, "Oh my God, where is mine?" Okay, because he will. He would. That'll be that. Like, he get
Oh,
a
he
text
gonna
in a
rub it
minute.
in if you don't bring him up on.
Exactly. That will be a text in a minute. You gonna forget your brother? No, I'm not. Okay. And then it's funny, and I laugh about that because that look, he has no problems showing that emotion. Okay. So, and I know it's not a weakness. It's just him expressing his feelings. Okay,
Right.
expressing his feelings. But quit telling my bit. No, I'm not because people need to know that there are men out there that do share their emotions. So, and you are one of them.
Absolutely.
So,
Absolutely.
yes. So, thank you so much for coming on. I really am going to like enjoy this space because I know the more I have men come on and share their feelings, so many more men are going to be looking at this like, oh my God, I can share my feelings now too. Oh my goodness, that's exactly how I feel. Like, am I the only person? I thought I was the only person that feel like that. So I just feel like this is gonna be a great space for that. I just want y'all to continue to come on, share, subscribe, all the things that you that I need to do on this end. Send me in some questions. Let me know what you want us to be talking about because we are going to continue to have raw conversation. Emotions are going to happen. There sometimes will be men that come on and cry. I may cry if I'm a crier. And that's just how it is because I want people to feel comfortable here. So, any last words
All I
before
want to
we
say is, sis, I love you. I'm glad that
love
you
you too?
took this thing because we talked about this behind the scenes for a good minute, and I'm glad that you launched it because it's needed. And I'm glad that you took up the mantle and go ahead and run with it and do what you got to do. And if there's anything you need from us, you know the number, you know the man, just holler. And it's all good. So everybody out there, please support my sister Lynn Maya, the heart coach, for doing her thing. Love you.
Thank you so much.
All right.